Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm back with my final Batman review. As I mentioned in my review of Batman and Robin, I was going to do one for Batman 1989, and so here we are. Now, I did watch this version 2 weeks ago now, and I hadn't seen it in a while. I think I watched it like once last year, and then again, like I said, a couple of weeks ago. Now, this week actually was the 37th anniversary of Batman 1989. So, you know the drill. If you happen to watch my movie reviews, this is not going to be comprehensive, just things that stuck out to me watching it this time around. Number one, the score by Danny Elfman. It's funny how things trigger like nostalgia and memory in your mind. As soon as the score came on, and this is the funny thing, it's not like I haven't heard his types of scores before, but for some reason it's just like when I hear his scores, it's just childhood for me because it's like everything. It's Beetlejuice, it's Edward Scissorhands, it's Batman. It's like it just triggers those memories because it's such a distinctive sound, his music, and it just took me back. And then of course the soundtrack done by Prince, iconic. So music wise, this movie was just great. The soundtrack, the score, everything. One thing I thought that was interesting is that the opening sequence of this one kind of is like a parallel to what happened to Bruce Wayne when he was a kid, where this family gets mugged and the parents almost get killed in front of their kid. It's an interesting, choice. I think it's probably deliberate to kind of show you that parallel before Batman, shows up and basically scares the muggers away before they get arrested. Anyway, so this is gonna be like a random thing. I'm not gonna talk about it a whole lot. It's just fun to me. Black Harvey Dent. Billy D. Williams plays Harvey Dent in this Batman movie, and he was eventually going to be Two Face in later sequels, but when Tim Burton left, the franchise, Billy D. Williams got recast with Tommy Lee Jones. Dang, I can't remember the man's name. Yeah, in Batman Forever, but he was originally gonna be Two Face. So that would have been interesting to see. We love Billy D. Williams with his permanent process and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I still just love the fact that he just Harvey Dent in this Batman. Like I said, it's Billy D. Williams. Um, Vicky Vale, I don't have a lot to say other than blonde because it wasn't until watching this when I'm like, dang, every love interest they gave him just blonde, huh? Hmm. Her, uh, played by Kim Basinger, um, Michelle Pfeiffer playing Selena Kyle, Nicole Kidman. Now, I don't know if Nicole Kidman she's a natural redhead. She dyed her hair blonde, which I don't think was a good idea. It kind of washed her out. At any rate, she was blonde in Batman Forever. And then the girlfriend that they gave Bruce in Batman and Robin, you might as well just call her blonde number four because she ain't have no interesting story to her at all other than she was the girlfriend. And I didn't mention this in my review of Batman and Robin, but she basically like proposed to Bruce Wayne. I wish I would. I wish I would sit up in front of Bruce Wayne and be like, "Hey, so are you going to marry me?" No, you can ask me yourself, and if not, I'm out. But hey, some women like to do that and propose to a man. It couldn't be me. Anyway, yeah. So all his love interests just blonde, at least in the movies. Now, of course, we know that's not the case in all iterations of Batman, but yeah. Anyway, um, another thing that I thought was interesting that I guess I wasn't paying attention to, but is also kind of obvious, is that Commissioner Gordon and Alfred are played by the same actors in all four movies, which I just think is a nice kind of continuity thing since they did change the actors who played Batman like in almost every movie. Um, yeah, that's kind of nice. And also, when I was looking that up, I didn't realize that the actor that plays Commissioner Gordon was actually in one of my favorite episodes of Twilight Zone when he was a younger actor. Interesting. Um, Random thing. I love that scene when they're doing like that charity ball at Bruce Wayne's house, and Vicky and her coworker like find themselves like in some random room full of like armor, and he says the rich are so odd because they can afford to be. I just like that line because it's true. Um, that's the other thing that I thought was interesting watching it back is in this version of Batman, it's like people don't know who Bruce Wayne is. Like they don't even recognize him. Like you in his house and you don't know what he looks like. Um, Nobody's talking about like Wayne Enterprises or Wayne Industries, and it's almost like it was sort of like that in the Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson, where he was kind of like off the radar for a while, you know. Um, but like in this version, like it really is like so y'all don't know who Bruce Wayne is, and he's not like gazillionaire extraordinaire, and y'all don't know nothing about Wayne Industries. It was kind of interesting because it was like y'all up in this man's house and y'all acting like y'all don't know who he is. It was interesting, and that people widely didn't know like his backstory. Like she had to go look it up with the help of her friend at the paper. What happened to Bruce Wayne's parents? I'm like, so y'all just this ain't just like a story that everybody know, like in all the other versions. Okay. Anyway, um, and also in this movie, I mean, it's not like a complete origin story, like like Batman Begins was with Christian Bale, but you can also tell that Batman is like a new thing to Gotham. Like people don't even know what to call him. Some people still think he's like this urban legend or urban myth. And then of course by the end of the movie, people come to trust him, and then they show that they've created the bat signal, and you get that great final shot of Batman standing there looking at the signal. But anyway, now moving on to the part that I think makes this movie the most memorable for everybody, which would be Jack Nicholson's portrayal of the Joker. Um, this is my favorite portrayal of the Joker in any um, like live action media, and I know that everybody loves Heath Ledger's version. Like I mentioned in my other review, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, I watched them once and that was it. Like I can't even begin to tell you because I just don't have any interest. And part of it is my own nostalgia for like these older movies, but I just don't have any interest in watching his version of Joker for a second time around. Like I don't know. Mostly because when I think of like Batman villains, I always think of them like I mean they are comic book villains, so I expect them to be like a little over the top. Um no offense, but that version of Joker in The Dark Knight just reminds me of crazy people in general, and I'm like y'all are like that even without having crazy scars and makeup and all that. And there's a lot of crazy people. It's like if I want to see a crazy person like that, I'll just watch the news. Anyway, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. But there's some people that portrayal is not that much of a stretch. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. Because I know people like that version. I don't want nobody to come for me. Anyway, the reason why I like this version is because the Jack Nicholson one is the only one that actually feels menacing to me. Like I remember being like scared when I was a kid, but like watching it as an adult, I'm like, this man is creepy as hell. Like very creepy and menacing. When he changes over from like being like the gangster and like he turns into the Joker, like everything about him after that point is just like unnerving as hell. Like, ugh. And I think part of it is the makeup design that they chose to go with for him, where it's like instead of like having the scars, it's like that permanent. Is like kind of make me think of like Botox, but it's like that permanent smile, and it's just it's ooh, like I said, very unnerving, very menacing. His whole entire demeanor, the entire movie, like because there's nothing funny about him, which I think is the other thing. Is like this Joker isn't like it's like I said, there's nothing comical or funny. He just creepy and sadistic. Um, Especially when you think about the fact that after he turns into the Joker, like his whole goal and intent is to start by poisoning Gotham City the same way he was poisoned, and then eventually the world. Like That's just cold blooded. Especially the fact that it was like through hygiene and cosmetic products, and then that scene where when they figured out that that's the products that were causing it, the newscasters looked crazy because they couldn't wear like no makeup, they couldn't wash their hair, they couldn't take showers and wear deodorant. So they were on the news looking crazy. But it's just like that's just so insidious because like we use those types of products every single day, and yeah. Um, I'm gonna tell you a scene that again I always knew was creepy, but I was surprised at how much it creeped me out watching it again. The scene where he takes out the other crime bosses and he uses his crew, but they're like mimes, is creepy as hell because it's like they're coming up and at first you just think, oh, it's a mime until you realize there's more of them. And then it's like, that's that feeling you get when it's like, okay, something about this is off. And then they just start showing up and then they bring out the guns and it's just, ugh, it just, I don't know. Everything about that scene freaks me the hell out. Then I don't like it. Then I just like this time watching around, I was like, ooh, yeah, no. Um, then the part where uh the Joker offers to give away like free money towards the end, and he's challenging Batman like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this. Why don't you show up and we'll see who's the better man, whatever." That whole thing about inviting people to come out reminds me of what my great grandmother used to say, which is like, don't ever find yourself in like large crowds, like because like something sounds too good to be true. It usually is, but basically it's just like people like to go to events where it's like, I mean, that there's going to be a lot of people. You go to a concert, you go to a show, you go to things where it's like, okay, there's going to be hundreds and thousands of people here. That's fine, but you just have to have your wits about you because that is always the type of place where mess happens, and that's exactly what happens in this movie. And people are so easily, you know, enticed by things, and like, he's talking about giving away free money. Of course, people would show up for that, but then it's like, then he decides to poison them. It's like, again, you just somebody that looked like that talking about I'm coming downtown to offer free money and is already Gotham City. No, I'm not going down there at night. It is like you kind of like got exactly what you would expect from showing up to an event like that. Crazy person tried to poison everybody. And the way that it comes out of like the balloon is like a freaky, reverse world Macy's Day Parade with them balloons, and then all of a sudden it starts releasing that gas and it looks gross and it's green. Hot mess. And then, of course, the twist of this version is that this Joker is actually the one that killed Bruce Wayne's parents when he was younger. And then there's an interesting twist because, the Joker is Batman's greatest adversary, so that this adds just another layer to that. Because, Bruce Wayne's, the death of his parents is what motivates him to become um, Batman in the first place. And like when they have their final confrontation, it's this whole thing about like who made who first. Like you made me Batman, but then like inadvertently he made the Joker the Joker. This is very interesting. All right, I gotta take a break. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Quick change of scenery. So basically, I left off. I was just talking about, like I said, the twist of Batman 1989 is that the Joker, when he was younger, is the one that killed Bruce Wayne, Batman's parents. And when they're having that final confrontation, Batman is basically letting him know, like, you made me. Like, I wouldn't be, this vigilante, caped crusader if you hadn't been the motivator by, killing my parents. And then it was like this weird thing where like the Joker was like, does it matter who made who because you made me? And that's like in reference to like earlier when he was just, he was a gangster at the chemical plant. The Batman basically inadvertently causes him to lose his balance and fall into the vat of chemicals, turning him into the Joker. So kind of like the weird like full circle moment or whatever. But actually that brings me to the end of my review. This one was pretty short, because sometimes I got a lot to say and sometimes I don't, but I definitely wanted to talk about Batman 1989. And so this concludes all of my reviews for, the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher era of Batman. It was really nice to do all these reviews and go down memory lane. Um, I have no idea what I'm gonna do next. Um, I did go out and buy a new hair tool, so I might make a new hair video. Or not. Or do another movie review. We don't know. We'll see. I got a lot of stuff going on right now, so. But this has been fun. And if you watched, thank you for watching.